And that is the power of transformation. You are no longer going to unconsciously react. You are going to consciously reflect and transmute. Good morning, challengers. Welcome to day 10 of the 21 Days to Discover You Challenge. Wow, we are halfway through this challenge. That is crazy. This is Ballori, your transformation coach. Now, it is one thing to know that you're not doing something that you feel called to do, but it's something completely different when you have a little more clarity in terms of the direction and your reason for being in your extraordinary life. So because we don't want this challenge to go to waste, let's keep the momentum going and explore what it means to be free and to live a life of purpose and fulfillment. And let's come up with a plan to get there, because we can know all the information, but unless we have an actionable plan, it means nothing. So I saw an Instagram post that was so timely that I want to share with you. Study your patterns. The ultimate wisdom comes from knowing your whys, why you feel it, why you do it, why you repeat it. Knowing your whys gives you clarity about who you are. And when you know who you are, you become powerful, dangerous, and unstoppable. I absolutely loved that post because this is such an important part of transformation. First, you want to become aware of your patterns, and then you need to actively change them. So this doesn't happen overnight, but as you are more aware of it and it comes to you naturally, what you'll notice is it's just second nature. Now, this is something that I noticed myself do recently. So I want to share this story with you because I am someone who's been doing this work for years now, but it still comes up for me. But just when it comes up, I'm a little bit more aware of it and I can transmute this energy a little faster. And so I recently met someone in a group who I really felt a connection with after a long time. And we would go into these long, deep conversations, and I was absolutely loving it. But then I started to notice that I was bringing this weird energy into the conversation that was not so good. And this was new for me because I'm generally someone who is uplifting other people and very curious and adventurous, and I'll do crazy things and be a complete goofball. But then if I have something going on, I'll usually stick to myself. I have my own self-care practices that I'll use to work through this. But I noticed that every time I got into a conversation with this specific person, it just made me feel a certain way. And I don't know, I was very comfortable with this person and I would just start word vomiting all my thoughts. And I started to notice a shift in this person's energy. And I was also not really in a very balanced place myself. And I started noticing a lot of similarities with past experiences that I've had, which I did not like and I did not want to repeat. So I started to ask myself, why am I being this way? Why now? Why specifically this person? What's going on in my life that's causing me to be this way? Are there similarities with this person or the situation or the connection that are similar with my past experiences? And what am I doing that keeps manifesting this same situation? And I noticed I was bringing a certain energy to our relationship, and in turn, the whole thing was feeling so imbalanced. So as soon as I identified this pattern and reflected on where it was coming from and why I was acting the way I was, I made a decision right there and right then to break that pattern immediately. So I asked myself, what is the outcome that I want out of the situation? Who do I want to and need to be in the situation that I want? And how would that person react in the current situation? So once I made those shifts, what I noticed is in a very similar dynamic, regardless of what this other person is doing or saying or being, I'm starting to experience the whole situation very differently. And I've taken that power back and I've restabilized my own energy and my thoughts in that whole situation. So now even if I do share certain things, it's where I feel a little bit more in control, but it's not also word vomiting to the other person. So For a while, as you get started doing this, you are going to have to actively pay attention to this. And the more familiar you get with yourself and your patterns and your thought process, you'll start noticing things come up, and then you will actively start to transmute it. And that is the power of transformation. You are no longer going to unconsciously react. You are consciously going to reflect and transmute the energy into something that is much more empowering. So in the next couple of days, what I want to do with you guys is to really start to understand your inner workings and figure out what makes you tick so that you can have your breakthroughs in your transformation. And if you stay till the end, I actually have a tip for you that is really going to allow you to have some amazing breakthroughs during this challenge. If you already have everything you need to live your extraordinary life, then why aren't you living it already? But since you're not living your extraordinary life, what are some of those things that you need to do or learn to set yourself up for success? This is going to be the first step to coming up with a strategy. We're going to figure out what the priorities are and which one you're going to do first versus second later, but let's actually start getting a list going. So start by creating a list for the gaps you are aware of in terms of the knowledge that you have or don't have to live your extraordinary life. So do you need to learn more about money management maybe, or investing? Do you need to learn how to make better food habits? How about maybe business or marketing or sales mastery? Maybe you need to learn how to manage your thoughts and your emotions. So the learning will never stop. Depending on the stage you're in, what you're learning will be changing. And that's exactly where you want to be. So reflect on how you prefer to learn new information, new skills. Is it through reading? Is it through hands-on experiences? Is it through listening to others? How can you tailor your learning approach to maximize effectiveness? And as you come up with your strategy, keep this in mind, because you want to find resources and a community that speaks to you. Don't try to fit a square peg into a round hole and say, well, I'm just not a good circle. Put yourself in places and situations that will engage and inspire you, and the ideas and learning should start coming to you naturally. Now, if you catch yourself in the, well, I'm a bad student mindset, reframe that thought. There are no bad students. Think of how many high school and college dropouts have become household names. Richard Branson, founder of Virgin Group; Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple; Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook; John D. Rockefeller, one of the richest people in history. Did you know that Rockefeller influenced the oil, transportation, manufacturing, petrochemicals, and finance industries after being a dropout? So there's no such thing as a bad student. There is no such thing as you are hopeless. You just haven't found the right way yet. So how about people? So when you're learning, if you're someone who needs to learn from people and engage with people, are there specific people that you know of or you want to meet that could help you in your journey? Have they already done what you want to do successfully? Also think about what kind of places might you find people that would help you on your journey. So if you're trying to get ahead, build a business, maybe going to a bar every Friday night isn't going to be the place. Maybe find a meetup group, or go to a conference, or get an introduction from a friend who knows a friend who is an entrepreneur, right? These are the types of things that you need to reprioritize and change minimal habits to put you in the right place for success. And for those of you who have stuck around for the tip of the day to have a really successful challenge and create a breakthrough, what you first want to do is change your state. So you're going to start doing this by doing some meditation and breath work before going into the journaling. And I have a favorite breath work that I love to do to get my blood pumping, and it's called Bhastrika. And so for those of you who don't know what that is, I've added a video for a 15-minute pranayama practice in the description, as well as into the challenge playlist that I absolutely love. You don't have to do the whole thing. I recommend doing the whole thing, but this specific breathwork practice starts at 6:06-ish. So I recommend trying this. Get your blood pumping, change your state. So now you're automatically in a positive state. So when you come in to do the challenge and the prompts, what we're going to do is the next thing for your breakthrough, and that is to change your story. So we're going to identify different stories that you have and start rewriting them. And the third thing that we're starting today to give you that breakthrough is going to be to come up with a strategy. It's great to change your state and to change stories, but until you have an actionable strategy and start working through it, it's going to mean nothing. So if this all makes you feel a little bit overwhelmed, or you need some assistance and you've been doing this journey and you've been listening to my videos and you're thinking it's resonating with you, I'm glad to jump on a free discovery call with you to find out what you're going through, what your situation is, what's making you click, what you've discovered so far on this journey, and to figure out if I'm the right person to help guide you through this next leg of the journey for you to create your extraordinary life. So there's a link in the bio and also in the description of this video to figure out how to book that call with me. And for everybody else, keep journaling, keep coming up with your strategy and start working through it. I am so excited to have you on this journey with me. We're halfway through, and it's about time that we start to create shifts and changes. So thank you again for being curious to discover, unleash, and transform yourself so that you can live your extraordinary life. And if you haven't done it yet and you can think of someone who would love to go on this journey with you, please invite them. It's not too late. They can do it at their own pace. And I will see you again tomorrow.